Sige, Ginoong Ministro, magtanong ka na.
Ikaw ba'y nagbabasa ng Biblia?
Oo, ako'y alagad ng Diyos. Ang Biblia ang salita ng Diyos.
Sa makatid ay alam mo ang tamang sagot sa itatanong ko sa iyo.
Itanong mo na.
Ang nakasulat ba sa Roma 16:16 ay Iglesia ni Cristo o Iglesia Katolika?
Asar. Oo nga eh. Lakas mo nga, Chow. Kasi pare natin, di ba rin sumagot eh. Tatatalo tuloy.
Ang gagawin natin, Camilo?
Guguluhin natin ang debate.
The Romans 16 verse 16 is being referred to the Roman Catholic Church. Paul here is talking to the Romans. The words churches of Christ Paul is referring to the Romans Christians not with the church. Paul calls them churches of Christ because of Acts 11 verse 26. The followers of Christ in Antioch as parts of Romans, Europe the descendants of Esau, were being called as Christians, so Romans were being called as churches of Christ, until the time the Romans, Europe, their ministry was called Roman International Church or Roman Catholic Church because the premise is to the descendants of Isaac, which means to Israel and of Gentiles Romans as was justified on Ephesians 3 verse 6. So why will Jesus gives the ministry of the church to the Philippines? That is why when Jesus said the kingdom of God will be taken away from Israel not Israelites and be given to the one that will bear fruits, it is about Romans, Europe. As this was justified by Peter in 1 Peter 2 verse 9, Peter is talking or referring to the Romans, that they were made by God and Jesus as a royal priesthood as this is about Exodus 19 verse 6, since the church was already taken away from Israel so is therefore the forever ministry of it as it is priesthood will also be taken away from Israel, so that is why Peter called them holy people, as Paul justifies this in Ephesians 5 verse 3, because they were taken away from darkness or from being Gentiles, and calling them holy people and holy nation, because the kingdom of God was been given to them, so that they will declare the praise of God in Jesus. Ephesians 5 verse 8. See the Romans as the light of God to peoples, as they are children of Jesus. Light, these means Romans, or Esau descendants Catholic Church, is the true church of God. So anyone who calls Romans as Gentile yet are enemies of Jesus. I will explain to you about this Acts 20 verse 27 to 31. Here Paul is talking to the household of the Romans or to the church of the Romans which became international or Catholic. In Acts 20 verse 27, Paul warned the Romans international household or RCC, because Paul and the apostles had proclaimed the whole will of God to the Romans. So Paul and the apostles knows that what will happen to Paul and the apostles are what also will going to happen to the Romans likely to those who were ministering the church, that they will also be killed or blood will pour out from them also. The Acts 20 verse 28 Paul justifies that it is to the RCC the ministry of the church was been commissioned, just as it started when Jesus appointed Peter to be a shepherd or high priest of the church of God, as the key of heaven was given to him, meaning the leadership, for he was seated in the left of the Father as what Jesus implied, as he was selected from among mankind to do everything related to the Lord. So here in this Acts 20 verse 28 the church of God here is the same church of Christ, which means as these are one, as was justified by the words which he bought by his own blood. So the Iglesia and I Cristo of Manalo and G.L.I. Soriano are ironically contesting about it what is really the true church, if it is church of God or church of Christ. In Acts 20 verse 29 to 30 here, now Paul prophesies that from among the international household of Romans or Roman Catholic Church many will oppose it and will destroy the RCC, and it will kill the priests and the peoples of the RCC, so as was fulfilled as Paul referring to the sects, who jump out from the true church and build their own sects and into every which ways, like infiltrating, or entering the ministry to become priests, but the motive is to destroy, camouflaging, masquerading, to be priests is to destroy the priesthood that ministering the church and the church itself. In Acts 20 verse 31 Paul really knows that these are really what will happen, as Paul even always shed 8 tears for these for 3 years.